Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my review of Rabbit and Steel. Before you click off, yes, it's weeb as anything. I hate weeb stuff too as well. This game is actually really brilliant. It's one of the most fun multiplayer games I've played all year. It's one of the sweatiest games as well. So if you've got a group of friends that actually really likes hardcore co-op coordinated gameplay, you might find this to be fantastic. As I did, along with a bunch of boys from my community, who I had to twist their arms a bit as well because they were apprehensive because of this weeb anime waifu furry crap on the screen. So look, the aesthetic is not going to necessarily be for everyone, but even while I say that, it is so incredibly, well, I mean, you know, it's gay. It's like the gayest game I've ever played, but it leans into it so hard. As in, all your loot items are corsets and bows to put in your hair. You get to pick your color palette and, you know, pink and violet and like this is the most Barbie doll game ever. And the soundtrack is all like weeb bossa waifu nonsense. And not only is it just so weeb, it is so incredibly committed to the bit and the style that you have to respect it. And at a certain point, me and the boys, we were into it, man. We were sucked in. So yeah, what a game. Anyway, look, I will say when I review games, I only have one objective metric that I hold to, and it's to sort of make everything a bit even when I review them against each other, I guess, which is, you know, worth your time, worth your money. For every $5 Australian that the game asks of me, I ask that it gives me an hour of good gameplay, solid fun. This has absolutely already passed that mark, right? It's gone for $20 Australian, so I would say 4 hours minimum. I've just put 5 hours into it. I'm gonna put more time into it as well. It was kicking our bums even on normal difficulty. And I just finished a run on Cute, which is the easiest difficulty. Of course, that's what it's called. And the final boss nearly beat us, to be honest. So like, this game is tough. And there's 2 more difficulties, hard and something else above that. So the replayability is in there. So yeah, to be clear, worth your time, worth your money, absolutely. I've played a bit of it single player. In fact, I kind of put the controller down half an hour in because I knew this would be brilliant with more dudes. There's nothing wrong with it single player and you would absolutely get value from it, but it really shines multiplayer. I will actually talk about what it is. It is a roguelike, an action roguelike game. It kind of positions itself in all of its, you know, marketing material that it's aping on like raid mechanics from things like Final Fantasy XIV. So it's got that weeb anime aesthetic, but mechanically it is all about positioning while you're juggling 4 skill cooldowns. You've got global cooldowns and primary, secondary, defensive, special. Each class has their own sort of quirks to them. There's a dancer class, for example, and that is essentially like you hit the primary, it buffs the secondary, you hit the secondary, it buffs the primary, so there's this shuffle to it. There's like a heavy weapons dude, which is kind of a frontline tank with like a hard invulnerability defense because they stand right up in the front. You got like an assassin type that has to get round behind. Wizard is something that really just tries to juice up their special and drop big damage. And then you've got like a druid, which does more like pet build and debuffs. And it's just really, really good. I'm someone that really loves Risk of Rain 2. And that's such a high watermark. And I'm not saying this is Risk of Rain 2. That would be sacrilege full stop. But I will say this. This is the closest that it's come to something contending with it, and which is a huge claim, and the devs should be very, very proud of that. So yes, it's very sweaty, very hardcore. As far as the rewards between beating a boss, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's kind of boss rush as well. So the raid boss idea is that you just fight an individual dude. There's no ads or anything like that. There's no fluff, no collecting 10 boar pelts. So essentially, you load into the level, you just bash the boss, everyone's handling their rotations individually, but the amount of raid mechanics and how different they are from biome to biome and boss to boss, it's actually staggering how many different mechanics there are and how well they telegraph. Like, you'll go in and be overwhelmed. The game's very overwhelming at first blush, but then you start to learn. There are certain, like some of the early ones, you'll get like a sort of circle around your character and it'll be on a timer and it doesn't hurt you, but if you take it over to one of the other characters and let it detonate on them, it'll damage them. So you're all trying to stay apart and avoid each other. Then you have variants of that one, like a cone that comes out from the boss. So the more you rotate around, the more it'll swing, and you do get into Benny Hill level shenanigans where I'm trying to go left, but the other guy goes left, and and you end up killing each other because you're not coordinating properly. There are other things like there will be a circle that you have to all get inside of, and it will pulse out projectiles. All sorts of things, getting chained together. Like, I almost don't want to tell you all of them because I don't want to give it away, but it really does reach peak when it gets to things like there'll be a telegraphed timer where you time freeze and it shows you a 3-part sequence, and within seconds you all have to go, right, everyone go cardinal, I'll go north, you go south, that sort of thing, and then we're all going to teleport, but then immediately after we teleport, someone's going to have a detonate circle on them, and we need to make sure we're hugged up to him so the balls don't hit us, and so you have to coordinate all this inside of seconds, all while trying to deal out DPS, and everyone gets, pissing rights at the end of boss, because it tells you who got the highest DPS. And then between levels, you're going to shops, and you're also going to, like, item roll-offs, so it has that MMO thing. If you want to both go for the same item, it dice rolls it, and someone wins, someone loses, but everyone still gets loot. The loot table is phenomenal, and it approaches things. Now, even though it's out of my wheelhouse, I've still have a little bit of background with MMOs from way back in the day, but things like Dota, like the complexity of the layering of the individual items and how they can augment things as simple as just your damage output, but they can change abilities entirely. They can turn off an ability and just give you a passive, or you can turn yourself into all sorts of wild things. High risk reward, like if you get hit, it disables this item. If you get hit too many times, it deletes the item, but obviously gives you a huge bonus. You can have ones that don't really do anything for you, but they give everyone else on the team humongous buffs. So it has a lot of what I would argue are the principles of the kind of RPG endgame raid boss mechanics that you want in an MMO. And even people like me, I don't play MMOs, not really, because I find the idea of getting 10 boar pelts ad infinitum to be infuriating and just a waste of my time. But I've seen videos of people doing 20-man raids and it looks fantastic. And so this really does do what it says on the box, leverages and taps that, except it does it in a 15-minute run, or however long you can go for. And it's one of those things, when you die and why, there will be occasional finger pointing, but it was all in good fun with us. But generally speaking, everyone wants to roll and jump back in again because you are halfway through trying to get that brilliant build out of all the different set pieces. And as you do like missions and objectives, achievements, whatever you want to call it, meta stuff, beat a boss in under 15 seconds, it will unlock an entire new set of items that will show up in the rotation. It looks like there's 5 other character classes that can be unlocked, but you have to beat one of the biomes on hard, so that's a long way from happening for me. So there is content, there is hours and hours of fun, and like I said, if you can square the weeboo aesthetic, there is a brilliant game in here. And I don't know if maybe the dev is like a hardcore bloody furry enthusiast and would take offense to me basically shitting on their art direction, or maybe there's someone like me and they're kind of in on the joke. Because the truth is, once we got into the game and embraced it and realized that it's a brilliant game, we got around the art style being so on the nose that it was actually like kind of a unironic force multiplier. There was camaraderie humming the bloody uwu soundtrack. I do wonder though, on the other side of it, I wonder how many people would actually, that dude that buys every visual novel that comes out and has an anime throw pillow unironically? I feel like if you're that guy, you probably haven't made it this far because I just hurt your feelings and now you're writing a negative comment. But if you're that dude that actually is really, really sweaty for uwu crap, this game probably is not going to be for that person. Because one, they probably don't have any friends, and this is very, very hardcore. So I wonder, like, inadvertently, accidentally, there might be mixed messaging around this. However, I am looking at it after release, and it's got overwhelming positive reviews. Like, it's finding its popularity. So I just wonder. It is interesting because, like on an actual serious note, I'm not really shitting that much on the art because, if anything, it's testament, as someone who hates all that sort of furry crap, I still recommend this highly. It's one of the best games I've played all year, especially if you've got a good group of mates that you can wrangle into it. Like, this is a must play. So I can overlook the art style. I'm sure plenty others can. But I do wonder if, we talk about games having to be great in an environment where good's not enough. And how many people are going to scrub past this in Steam and look at the art and go, I'm not paying $20 for that next. I feel like maybe people have been conditioned to behave that way. So anyway, for my part, here's the video. Get this game, even if your soul tells you that this would not be for you because of the art style. Anyway, I don't need to rant on about that too much. Game's brilliant. I've had a blast and I can't wait to play more. Team, might just leave it there for the time being. I'll catch you guys on the next one.